Hello and welcome. Today we're going to create Foliate Faces. Spring is one of my favourite times of year. It's a time for getting outdoors and spending time in nature. And I'd encourage you to do just that to find inspiration for the activities I'm going to suggest in this film. So what is a foliate face? Foliate means leafy, covered in foliage, or leaf-shaped. So essentially, it's a face surrounded by leaves. The green man, or foliate face, is a timeless symbol that appears in ancient carvings as a face surrounded by leaves. It is a symbol of the endless cycles of rebirth, regrowth, and regreening in nature. It is as if we stand face to face with the spirit of nature, who meets us with a calm, level gaze, or a playful, mischievous grin. Many green man carvings suggest this playful game of hide and seek amongst the foliage. In terms of possible inspiration, it's worth looking at the work of the 16th century Italian artist Giuseppe Arcimboldo. He created extraordinary portraits composed of flowers, fruit and vegetables. In much more recent times, World War II artist John Piper painted a series of foliate heads. And Dame Elizabeth Frink created a Green Man series. Firstly, let's think about faces. Now, the traditional green man or foliate face tends to depict a mature, often wrinkly, usually masculine face. But I want you to feel free to reinterpret that. Perhaps choose a female face, a young face, or something that blurs some of those boundaries. You might choose an animal face. Most foliate faces look straight at us, but you might prefer yours to look away. Here's a Green Man inspired piece I did in 2015, in which the face looks away from the viewer. This design was cut out of a single sheet of black paper using a surgical scalpel. That was back in the days when I had more time. I've depicted Green Man imagery in other mediums too, mostly in acrylic speed paintings. My partner Jason kindly modelled for a pair of Green Man portraits, which featured as part of a Robin Hood-inspired public art trail in Nottingham a few years ago. Robin Hood, dressed in Lincoln green, is often linked with the Green Man. Even our little fox looked the part. And here's a giant Green Man sculpture that I was commissioned to make out of thousands of recycled plastic drinking straws for the Aikman pub in Tring, Hertfordshire. I tend to collect interesting faces wherever I find them, in magazines, newspapers, books, online. Any of these could make a good starting point for a foliate face portrait. You could work from a photo reference, or a willing portrait model, or do a self-portrait, or even work from imagination. Similarly, here are some animal faces that would make interesting foliate faces. I'm going to do a series of brief demos using drawing techniques, but if you don't feel confident drawing, feel free to interpret the foliate faces theme through the medium of photography or digital art. Think of it as a face hiding amongst foliage, or think of it as a costume. I'm going to start by doing a fairly conventional green man foliate face image, and we'll see where we lead on to from that. We want to think where on this canvas the face wants to be, and the chances are you'll want plenty of space around it to evolve into foliage, leaves, flowers, etc. So let's put him somewhere near the middle. I'm going to move this a little bit nearer just to make life easier. Once you've chosen a face you want to work with, begin by loosely sketching in the main facial features: eyes, nose, mouth. We're unlikely to need much more than those. Feel free to exaggerate those features. Ancient foliate face carvings often tend to be quite grotesque caricatures. Leave plenty of space around your face, as that's where we're going to evolve into foliage. It's up to you whether you want to define the edges of the face. In this case, I'm using an ordinary ballpoint pen. Ballpoint pen is great, especially if you want to add a lot of intricate detail. So in terms of the face, this is probably enough just to give us the basics. Beyond that, we're going to evolve into foliage, flowers, fruit, whatever. I'm going to keep this here for reference. As the face begins to shape up, start to think about adding leaves, flowers, foliage, and so on around it. I'd suggest not starting out with too clear an idea of your intended result, but rather let your foliate face grow naturally and evolve, and see what happens. You might want to work with the traditional imagery of oak leaves and other native British woodland foliage, but equally you could include flowers, ferns, tendrils, insects, and so on. You could focus on one season, or you could combine more than one. Now let's try an animal foliate face. This photograph of a fox caught my eye. This time I worked on black paper using coloured pencils. I really hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into the fascinating world of Foliate Faces and feel inspired to create some yourself. I look forward to seeing how you get on. I also want to say a heartfelt thanks and welcome to all my recent channel subscribers. If you aren't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so for free by clicking subscribe below. If you click the little bell icon on my channel page, you'll be notified every time I upload a new film. Meanwhile, please stay safe, stay creative. See you again soon.